Okay, grade 7, we are doing lesson 3. We are doing lesson 3 in chapter 6, solving equation with rational coefficients. Things we need to know for us to be successful, okay? We need to know what are rational coefficients. So what is a rational number? Rational number can be fractions, decimals, or integers. Okay, types of fractions: whole, improper, mixed, proper. Remember, fractions can be positive or negative. Okay, then we have decimals. They can also be positive or negative. Okay, then we have integers. These are whole numbers. They can also be positive or negative. So you need to know this. So in this lesson, we will work mostly with fractions and decimals. Okay, so you sometimes see a mixed number. You need to remember, what's an improper fraction? When the numerator is bigger than the denominator. 5 out of 2, 27 out of 10. Okay, mixed number, when you have a whole number and a proper fraction. Proper fraction, 3 over 7. The numerator is smaller than the denominator. You have to remember this from term 1, from grade 5, from grade 6. Okay? Alright, so from from chapter 5, we learned about coefficients. We say the coefficient is a number with a variable. So in this lesson, your number becomes a decimal. Okay? So this is a coefficient which is rational because it's a decimal. Okay? Here my coefficient is a fraction. Here my coefficient is an improper fraction. Is a mixed number. Okay? So in this expression, the coefficient is -2 and 6/10. The coefficient here is 3 out of 4, or 3/4. The coefficient here is 3 and 2 out of 5, or 3 and 2/5. Okay? Now, we are going to deal with a property in this lesson. Excuse me. All right. So the property we are going to deal with is called the multiplicative inverse. It is a property. Okay? So what is the multiplicative inverse? For you to know what the multiplicative inverse is, you will do the reciprocal of a number. You'll be given a number, you have to flip it, and then that will be the multiplicative inverse. So this is called the multiplicative inverse, or it's called the reciprocal. I told you vocabulary is very important. Okay? So if my number is 1/2, the reciprocal will be 2 out of 1. Whatever is in the denominator, you put in the numerator. Whatever is in the numerator, you put in the denominator. You flip, okay? 5 is a whole number. Write 5 as a fraction, you write it 5 over 1. Then you flip it, you get 1 out of 5. That's the multiplicative inverse. If your number is a negative, you write it as a fraction. As long as it is whole, 1 will be at the bottom, okay? Then you flip it, you get -1 out of 4. This is the multiplicative inverse. -1 over 4 is the multiplicative inverse of 4. 1 over 5 is the multiplicative inverse of 5. 2 over 1 is the multiplicative inverse of 1/2. Now here, you have a mixed number. Change it to an improper fraction. Convert it to an improper fraction. How do we do that? 7 times 5, add 3. That gives me 38 over 5. Then I flip it. So 5 over 38 is the multiplicative inverse of 38 over 5. Now, there is a relationship between the multiplicative inverse and its number, okay? So, a number multiplied by its multiplicative inverse will always equal 1. Another way you can say this, the product of a number with its multiplicative inverse will give us 1. Will always equal 1. So here I have used product instead of multiplied. So you should know these two words mean the same. Now let's see why this is true. So a half, the multiplicative inverse is 2 over 1. Remember in term 1 when we are multiplying fractions, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 divided 2 is 1. 5 times 1 over 5, 5 becomes 5 over 1, times 1 over 5, 5 over 5 equals 1. Same thing here. Negative 4 becomes negative 4 over 1. Multiply 1 over 1 over negative 4, and I wrote it over here. Negative 4 times 1, negative 4, 1 times negative 4, negative 4. A negative divided negative is a positive, 4 divided 4 is 1. Alright, so we say the multiplicative inverse of this was here, see? So we say 7 and 3 over 5 times 5 over 8. Change this, convert this to improper fraction, which we did over here. Then we multiplied the improper fraction with its multiplicative inverse. We got 190 over 190. We got 190 over 190. 190 divided by 190 gives us 1. So it doesn't matter. As long as you multiply a number with its multiplicative inverse, you will always get 1. Now, let us start solving. You have a question. So, the question says solve and check. And the question said 18 equals to 0 to 3/10 m. So what it's going to do, you're going to divide. So you're going to write 18 equals to 3/10 m. And since we are multiplying, I'm going to do division property of equality. I will divide both sides by 3/10. This will go. And then this should be, I don't have a calculator, so we'll solve here. So 18 divide 3/10. 18 times 10 over 3, 180 over 3, 60. So if you put this in the calculator, you should get 60. And then don't forget your bridge. Okay? Now we have to check. So 18 equals to 3/10 m. This means 18 equals to 3/10 times m, who is 60. 18 equals to 18. How do I know? Without my calculator, I'm doing 3 over 10 times 60, which gives me 180 over 10. 10 goes with this 0. My answer is 18. So that is how I know this is correct. Okay? Let's do one where you have a decimal that is negative. Okay. All right. So, negative okay. This is the question. You have to solve and check. All right. So, I will start with this side where we have the variable. So, I write again the question. I will divide both sides with 0.2. It is negative, so you divide by the same. This goes away because it is 1. Alright, so now we need to solve this. A negative divided a negative is a positive. So now I need to do this. I'll do this. You do it with your calculator. I don't have my calculator, so I'm going to do it here. So I'm showing you also how to do it correctly without the calculator. 1 4/10 divide 2/10. That is 14/10 divide 2/10. Term 1, we said when we divide, this changes to multiply. 10/2, 14/10. So this is 140/20. This goes and this goes. 14 divided 2 is 7. So when you put this in the calculator, you will get 7 equals P. And then you check. So follow the rule. Negative 1 4/10 equals to negative 0 2/10 P. Negative 1 4/10 equals to negative 0 2/10 times 7. A negative times a positive, a negative. If I multiply this, I should get 14, and then I have 1 decimal place, so that is correct. Okay? So we've done one for decimal. Let us try and do one where the coefficient is a fraction. All right. So question says solve and check. Solve and check. We have 5/6 Z equals what? 30/60. So this is the question. So you put your bridge. You will write the multiplicative inverse of your coefficient. 6/5 multiply. And you will write it over here. 6/5 multiply. Then you will bring your question down. 5/6 Z, 30/60. You will box your multiplicative inverse. This becomes 1. Then you put your line. Z equals 6 times 3 is 1, 8 is 18. 5 times 6 is 30. And you bring the 0. Now, we never leave fractions like this. We have to simplify. So this 0 goes with this 0. And the greatest common factor of 18 and 30 should be 6. So divide this by 6, divide this by 6. So Z equals to 3 over 5. And this is your answer. Okay? And then you do your check. 5 over 6Z equals to 30 over 60. Then you will do 5 over 6 multiply 3 over 5 equals to 30 over 60. All right, what do I get? 15 over 30 equals to 30 over 60. If you simplify this, divide by 15, divide by 15, you will get 1/2. If you simplify this, divide by 30, divide by 30, you will get 1/2, and that is correct. Okay? All right, one more. Let's do one where we have 3 and 7 over 3 and 7 over 8 x equals what? Whatever. Let's put a number. Equals 10. It doesn't matter. This is the question. Change this to improper fraction. 24. 3 times 8 is 24 plus 7. 24 plus 7 is 31. 31 over 8x equals to 10. Do the multiplicative inverse. 8 over 31. 8 over 31. This goes away because it is 1. X equals, you write 1 over here, 80 over 31. You need to simplify this. Okay? So I will minus 80 minus 31, 7, 4. I can remove another 31, 8, 18. So I have x equals to 2 and 18 over 31. Okay? This is my x. Don't forget your bridge. Remember, when you have a fraction, you have to write it in the simplest form. Okay? And then you check and see if you get the same answer. Do it. You do over here. 31 over 8 times 80 over 31 equals 10. 8 goes here once, 8 here goes 10. 31 goes here once, 31 goes here once. And here is 10 equals 10. Okay? So that is how we do this lesson. So finish your example A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And do the 1, 2, and 3 on Aleph.